I have some audio recordings, and this is a statement about the laws that pertain to audio recording and publishing in Maryland. What is clear from a recent court ruling, statements from the state legislator, statements from the Maryland Attorney General's office, and friend of the court briefs from the U.S. Justice Department is that government agents do not have an expectation of privacy acting in their official capacity or during their official time of duty acting in the public fora. And the wording goes beyond just police officers. If you think about it, with wrongdoing by the police, it usually is a video and not the audio that provides the evidence. But for all other government agents, it's going to be mainly audio. My recording of my medical providers are those who are contractors and subcontractors of the state of Maryland, providing medical care to Medicaid patients such as myself. Now, these are some of the same doctors that also, provide medical care otherwise as well. But in my case, they are doing it as a government contractor or subcontractor. Now, the problem started before I ever even got onto the government program. And for those issues, there are no recordings of those events, obviously. And now you are probably not on Medicaid. Now this is Medicaid, not Medicare. Medicaid is the medical assistance from the government. So you are probably not on Medicaid, so you could not use this interpretation of the law to justify recording your medical providers. Now, what could work for you would be the argument that otherwise, what would otherwise be oral communication or a conversation is in fact neither when it is within the context of medical care. What is taught in med school is that oral communication between doctor and patient is a tool, something like an x-ray, a scalpel, or medication. It is said that oftentimes just the discussion alone is sufficient to come up with a diagnosis. It is also said that the discussion is part of treatment, because here the doctor tells the patient that he must take the medication or else some bad consequence results. And also, if you read many hospital policies on patient rights and responsibilities, it will say that the staff has to respect the patient's privacy, the patient has to respect the privacy of other patients, but it does not say that the staff has any privacy rights. What it normally says is that the patient has to respect the staff's rights, and this means that the patient cannot assault the staff and so forth. But the word privacy for the staff is left out. And this is because the staff member interacts with the patient, when that happens, the discussions are entirely about the patient and the patient's private matter. And this matter, when recorded by a medical provider, whether directly or when the medical provider makes a medical record. And of course, a medical record is supposed to contain almost all of the discussion that the patient has with the medical provider. So all this is protected by privacy laws such as HIPAA, right? And these privacy laws are entirely for the patient. So it's only the patient who can allege that his privacy rights were violated. Now, the medical provider, wherever mentioned in those medical records, they don't have any right of privacy. So, you could get medical records from a doctor and you could share it with whoever you want, and the doctor has no say in it. At the same time, the doctor cannot take your medical records and just make them public. So, that argument could work for you, but then again, That's not, that's a good argument, but it's not as good as the first one, where it is kind of settled in Maryland that when you are a government contractor, subcontractor, basically you're acting under color of law. So so it's well recognized that those Medicaid providers are in fact acting under color of law, just like a police officer would. So not only is it allowed to record what the conversations with them, and they don't have an expectation of privacy, but actually, since the color of law applies to them, if they in fact violate your civil rights, whether it's a police officer or whether it's a medical provider acting under Medicaid, or both in combination, or both in united, or whatever, in any of those cases, you can actually file civil rights charges against those individuals, because they are actually government agents.